You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you transmute your trauma with comedy. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a comedian, a registered nurse, and I'm studying therapeutic humor. I go around the world and I talk about the power of humor, why we need it, how it helps us. That's right. We're taking our pain and we're playing with it. That's what we're taught to do by Charlie Chaplin. That's what we teach with the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor, whose conference is coming up this week in Denver, April 4th through the 7th. You too can get certified in therapeutic humor. That's what I'm doing. I am graduating this year after 3 years of study of therapeutic humor. And I'm also starting to produce new shows called Nurses Off the Charts. And what happens is we pass the microphone around. Nurses are sort of drinking and having a good time. Not just all nurses, EMTs, healthcare workers. Sometimes it's patients who share the funniest stories. I'll have to put trigger warnings on these nurses' stories. The one I'm going to share today is about an 18-year-old's first trip to the gynecologist. That's your trigger warning. Okay. All right. Enjoy this story from Nurses Off the Charts.
I was 18 and it was a gynecological exam. You have your butt right on the edge of the table.
For gentlemen don't know, we have to get in on a thing and put our feet in these stirrups and scoot, scoot, scoot.
And then when she's done, she tells me to scoot back and then put my feet down.
Okay.
But I'm embarrassed. I want to cover up. So I put my feet down first. This pitches my body weight off the table. She caught me.
Physics! The fulcrum!
One leg on either side of her head.
One leg on either side of her head. And her right in her face. That's what she said.
So when she wrangles me back up onto the table, I look at her and said to her, "Sorry, I thought you needed a closer look."
Did you ever go back to that person?
Yeah.
And now you're married.
It's a happy ending, see? Come out to Nurses Off the Charts and tell a story. I love them. I love them so much. Yeah, and I don't know if you could hear everything she said, but some of the stuff had to be bleeped out. If you want to go to my Instagram Reels, you can hear a lot more of these. My Instagram is nancynorton.tv. This week on Traumedy, we have an amazing guest who it's the irony that he came to see a show that I was headlining at the Parker Theater, which, by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned Nurses Off the Charts, but there is a Nurses Off the Charts show at the Parker Theater, April 13th, Saturday night. Get tickets, go to that show link, find my link tree. I'd love to have you there. Think about a story that you would like to tell. You know you've got 100 of them. Think about one you can share. Our guest this week saw me at the Parker Theater doing another show called Moms Unhinged, and he has done all the things I wanted to do when I started out doing stand-up. He's been on The Tonight Show. He's been on daytime talk shows. He's hung out with all these celebrities. You can see all of these great interviews all over his website. And he has had one of the most traumatic childhoods I've ever heard of. And he had turned his survival traits into a gift. All right, here we go. Everybody, welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is incredible. He's been on everything. I mean, everything that I've always dreamed of being on. Every late show, talk show, and almost 3 million YouTube followers. It's Rich Ferguson. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Nancy.
And one of the things I talk about on Traumedy are post-traumatic gifts, and you are the best example of anyone I've ever had on the show. Your post-traumatic gifts of magic. You do magic and all kind. I don't know, what else do you call it? You call it mentalist. You're a mentalist.
Psychological entertainment, mentalism, magic, whatever. And human interaction is what it is. That's what I'm drawn to. I don't really even care about magic per se. Magic's a tool to let me approach someone and mess with their head and mess with their emotions and play with them and get to know them and just have that human connection, and gets me out of my box because I got Asperger's. I'm a mess. I'm a wreck. But magic lets me meet people and I can look them in the eye without feeling awkward. Without that, I'm just the guy in the back corner just sitting there staring, looking at everybody. And so it's a way for me to kind of branch out and be comfortable. So it's just a way to connect.
I love that. I didn't know you had Asperger's, but I guess I'm not surprised because I think of people with Asperger's as having an extremely gifted, intelligent mind. And obviously that's the case from what everything I've seen. And also I just met a guy Saturday night who also said he has Asperger's, and he has channeled it into, he's a chemist, and I'm doing psychedelic trauma therapy, and he's putting all of his intelligence into making medicine, helping people understand their trauma and then connect it to now and how they can heal. And he had this very calm demeanor that, and like kind of this really groovy, like I was like, that's not what I'm used to seeing with what I understand about Asperger's. Like his social comfort was high. And you've created a high social comfort because you've got this way of engaging and assessing who's approachable. That was one of the things I saw on a video. You were saying you know who to approach. Like you do these street pranks. That seems like what's been blowing up on YouTube.
I've been known to. I was working with a lot of TV shows and creating content for them. And then some of the stuff we'd film, we're like, hey, let's go film some stuff for ourselves. I'd throw it on my YouTube channel. I mean, literally just for fun. And then I just kept growing and growing. I had all these millions of followers, which is weird for I'm 54 this year. And 2 years ago, I went through a lot of stress, a severe car accident, and we'll talk about that later. But 2 years ago, people would argue that I wasn't even 40. Now I look my age kind of, but like 2 years ago, you wouldn't have believed it. It's nuts. But yeah, I was doing that stuff in my 30s and 40s just for fun. And this was not, a lot of people get on YouTube because they're seeking fame, or they're really good looking. And I'm here, this average pale white guy, middle-aged basically. I already had a career. I already been on tons of shows. And YouTube was just a secondary place to stick stuff because then it was easy to share. I never did it for the YouTube fame. And then it just took off. I mean, I don't know another 50-something-year-old that has millions of followers. It's not attractive or some hot girl or whatever, someone that's got an incredible thing to sell, or Tony Robbins or whoever that's just got this impeccable ability to, share knowledge. I'm just there being a silly clown, and somehow people resonated with it. It's so funny.
Absolutely. And you do underestimate your looks, but that's okay. That's probably for your highest good anyway. We don't need to blow up your ego. But I think it's exciting. I think I've heard, and I don't know a lot about the algorithms as evidenced by my 100 followers. But the point is, I think it's about the shares, right? It's like, oh, you got to see this. You got to see this. That's the kind of energy that is getting rewarded on socials. I have to tell you, I have been working on stand-up for 35 years, and I have honed some of my bits down to the syllable, and I think they're so clever. And then the one that first kind of went a little bit viral, like maybe got 1 million views, was me having a cocktail and then just splurting my truth about the shame-based nursing school, like just sort of in a moment of clarity and a little bit of rage. And that's what went, that's that level. I think it's something, I don't know what it is. Exciting, I guess, that comes through. I'm using my hands a lot. I don't know why.
And maybe also natural, maybe real and raw. I don't know. Because sometimes when something's shoved down your throat and it's very rehearsed and very, packaged, like, oh, and don't forget to buy my DVD and don't forget to hire me as a speaker. And you really package it. People are like, I'm off, I'm done. It's like they just want raw and surprising. And
yeah.
And
I wonder too about, I'm spiritual too. I don't know if you have any spiritual component, but I also just wonder, I know from watching your documentary that your spirit, let's just say your heart and soul feel like you want to be of service and you want to help people. You had a very traumatic childhood. I mean, it just brought heartache. I mean, I wanted to cry when you shared your documentary. Let's go into your background a little bit and what makes you want to help people. Because I feel like that's part of your psyche, right? That you want to lift spirits. You want to lift people up.
Yeah, I volunteered with so many groups over the years, from CASA to Dream for Kids to Big Brothers and Sisters, which I was a national spokesperson for them. And their slogan used to be "A little moment's big magic." Back in the day, they changed it, and it was so fitting for a magician, which is kind of just coincidence. But I was matched with a little for 10 or 12 years. And then he, first kid in his entire family to go to college, and he went to college, and now he's a lawyer in Denver. I mean, it's amazing. It's just so cool.
But I had a program. That was your first, that was your little brother in Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
We're still in contact, and he just had a baby. It's really cool. Really neat. Yeah.
I love that. I was in Big Brothers, Big Sisters in Hawaii, and I feel bad because I ended up moving from Hawaii, and I lost track of, I only was with her a year, and then I got pregnant, and I thought, okay, can we go to halftime because I'm going to have a baby? But then I didn't. I mean, I ended up not. I mean, I didn't. That baby didn't make it, and then I lost. And then her dad said, no, I'd rather her have a full-time person. And we just, it kind of that makes me sad that I didn't carry that on, and it inspires me that you did. So anybody out there thinking about doing Big Brothers Big Sisters. Wow, what an impact you've made on that person's life.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, talk about my childhood. It's so weird, but I didn't have any love. I didn't have any mentoring. I didn't have any parents. I didn't have any siblings. I had nothing. I just literally was a white kid in a predominantly Hispanic gang infested area. It's a little town called Salinas, California. And I just ran the streets, did what I wanted. My grandmother, who had custody of me, ran drugs. The person who I thought was my dad and that whole family, they were in and out of the house nonstop. All of them, they just ran drugs. And I saw people beat to death. I saw people raped. I saw drug abuse.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't sleep in my own bedroom because there's usually people in there having sex or doing drugs. I would sleep in the attic on a mattress. I mean, I just slept on the couch or under a table.
Oh.
I was really in a really weird situation until, and you have to keep this in mind, this is in the 70s. There wasn't the technology and the checks and balances as we have today. No kid could fall through the cracks to that degree. But back then, if a kid didn't go to school, what are you going to do about it? You wouldn't even necessarily know because I never went to school.
So this went on for a long time because what I saw in your...
I was almost 11 and a half years old and they found me and they're like, oh, because we had a real drug bust. We had fake ones all the time, but we had a real one. And then they find this kid and they're like, oh, a kid. Well, they put me in emergency protective services and we had a whole bunch of violence in my house. My grandmother had to go to the hospital for something. That's what spawned this whole thing. So they take me away, they throw me in protective services and they're like, what are we going to do with this kid? He's going to go to foster care if we can't figure out what to do with him. And just completely out of just pure luck, this amazing family was looking for an older kid because they were much older. They were almost 50 and they adopted this almost 12-year-old. Oh. And then I got a new life and that was that. So I moved out of that crazy environment and got adopted.
You have angels. You have angels on the other side. And I'm going to impose my spiritual beliefs just because I get goosebumps and I know that's my sign from spirit I'm tired of being in the closet about it. So I just let it out and you don't have to believe it. You don't have to agree with it. But I'm just saying, I know you did share in your documentary. I saw in your documentary that your mother died tragically when you were 5 years old in a horrible, I mean, this is my nightmare way of dying. Like I actually have dreams about it and I don't understand it, but I have had dreams, nightmares about being driven off a cliff. But I'm just saying, you lost your mother at 5 years old when your crazy neighbor drove her off a cliff.
Yeah, I think it was like a love triangle. Like her husband, who I thought was my dad, was in jail for life for various crimes, and she was pushed off the road by what we believe is other family. So it gets even way wilder since that documentary. That documentary is pretty old.
So you've gotten more information since then.
Yeah, here's my mom. Where's she at?
Oh, let me see her. Do you have her ashes or something?
My office. But there she was. That's what she looked like when she had me. She was 17 when she had me. Is she a little angel?
She's beautiful. She is an angel, and I do believe she is one of your angels, and I'm wondering if she guided you to this family, because it sounds very synchronistic. Like, here's this family that just happens to be looking for an older child, and then everything you shared in that documentary about, I mean, in fact, I do hear from adoptees because, you heard some of my jokes that I did at this show where we met in Parker, and I put one of those on Instagram, and then a lot of adoptees were very hurt by it and very angry at me. And they didn't understand where my heart was coming from. Like I was coming from it as an ironic thing. Like, of course I didn't buy my son. And of course there was no Groupon. Like those are jokes we use to reclaim those misconceptions. But some people in the foster system or foster adopt have had horrible experiences. Mm-hmm. One woman told me her mother showed her a receipt and said, "You're not worth any more than a piece of shit car." Mm-hmm. And then you hit like the, gold mine of adoptive parents, and everything just worked out so well. And I'm so happy for you. And I'm just want to acknowledge not everybody that goes into the foster system has such a successful thing, but I did get goosebumps.
Especially when you're older.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of kids, a lot of at-risk youth, and I've, done a lot with a lot of programs.
Well, you said you were with CASA and.
Yeah, it's brutal. But there's no reason someone should hold a lifelong trigger to you saying something that is hilarious to someone who's been adopted and considered adopting and all that. And even your mind goes down this tunnel of like, that's offensive. Like, no, that's comedy. It's a brilliant setup. I think it's great.
Well, and then I learned from that because I don't, again, I think I've mentioned, I don't like looking at myself. That's why I don't usually do video, but I hire somebody to help clip up my videos, because I just don't like doing it. So I have somebody do it, and she clipped off sort of the sentimental end of that joke, so I could see where somebody could get confused by it. And
Right, and then they don't have the whole scope. Yeah.
and then they were being protective. Like one of them said, "I would not have approved your home study," blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Then my son would actually be dead because he was sick in a hospital when I met him. And blah blah. It's a long story, but we don't need to go into my story as much as just wanted to acknowledge the synchronicities and that you after all this, I mean, 12 years of just a brutal childhood, got placed in this golden foster situation with this family that sounds wonderful, and who supported you in finding your birth family after many, many years. And that was, all of it was so incredible. So I'll definitely put that in the show notes so people can see your story more in depth, and anything else you want to share now. But I just
put in the good video that just got made a couple of years ago, the documentary about my career, so they can be like, oh, good, he's successful, or he's having fun and life is good. Because it's like, they're gonna look at that, oh, this poor guy. Like,
well, I'm gonna put both of them in there.
And Nancy, and to talk about, one thing, we kind of went and digressed a little bit. You were saying about, we were talking about one thing, and you said, "I'll talk about your childhood and how it affected that." And it's like you're talking about gifts.
That's what exactly where I was going.
I'm telling you, without a doubt, if it wasn't for my childhood, not knowing how to read till I was 12, not being so unbelievably sheltered, having no support system, no family, no brothers and sisters, no parents, and just being a freakish observer, I would have never had the incredible observational skills and street smarts and the ability to know what I know now, and rewriting the book on psychology, on human behavior, and how to read people at the level I do, and how I get away with stuff as a magician, and how I've made an entire career out of it. And I have such a different perspective, and I've noticed things that have never been documented in psychology books. I studied psychology in college, and so I'm writing a new book on it. And it's like,
you're writing a book.
My childhood created that, because I have an entirely different approach to human behavior, and I got it from trauma.
Yep.
I really did. But
and that
gave me a superpower.
And there is a book, I might even have it right here. I could show you. I mean, you already have it. I don't know if it's right here, but it's a book called Post-Traumatic Growth. I mean, there are books about the post-traumatic growth that happens with people. And my nephew was just here recently and noticing something about me. He's highly observant, and he's like, "You're crazy observant." And I'm like, "Yeah, because," and I think that is in fact why I have a divergent eye, because of trauma. I got blindsided. In my experience, this is what I remembered as doing a psychedelic therapy. I couldn't get to this, but as an infant, things happened to me when I was really unable to defend myself. And there's just a part of me that's like, I want to see what's going on. I really like sizing people up and knowing, am I safe and am I not safe? And then I also developed a little bit of a bad pattern of being drawn to sociopaths because I wanted to heal them. Like I wanted to heal my mother. And I finally have learned, like, I've been humbled by that enough. I think I can let that go. I don't need to heal sociopaths anymore. Like, I'm not going to sit in my victim energy about it. I've done that enough. I love what you said. Like this, you're great. Sounds like you're actually grateful for your journey.
I mean, I want my mom back, but I would never want to lose the depth of analytical abilities and observation abilities and street smarts and all that I gained, because you can't get that in school. Either you get it or you don't. And it is a gift. I wouldn't trade it for the world, because that's all I have. That's my one superpower for sure.
I know. And thank you for saying that about wanting your mom back. And I don't want to be flippant about that at all. I'm so sorry for that loss, And one of the things you shared, and this is so important, I do think this is what makes the difference between somebody with complex PTSD, and you're probably more experienced with psychology than I am, but it's not even still a diagnosis in the DSM-5, but complex PTSD is what my therapist tells me I have, and it sometimes presents similar to narcissistic personality disorder only because there's a lot of need. But the difference is, if you had one person, like I had my grandma who visited like 2 or 3 times a year, touched my heart so deeply, and that held me through till the next visit, and it kept me, I don't know, human. And then you had this neighbor that you shared on your documentary that, took you under his wing. He had a dog, and I don't know, was that a pivotal person?
Yeah, I've looked back at pictures. I only have a few pictures of my childhood. It was pre-digital world, and I just don't have much. And this gentleman, Herbert, this old dude that lived up the street, and he recognized that I was living in a crazy house down the street. Crazy house. And I would come to the apartment and just walk around and try to play with other kids. And I even had other parents like, "Oh, get away from my kid," because they knew who I was associated with. And this guy just let me play with this little puppy. and I'd play with his dog, and we just became friends. And he would feed me, like if he was going somewhere to a work party, and I remember they had this piece of cake. It was one of those round cakes. He cut a sliver out and then pushed it back together and refrosted it. And he's like, no one will ever know. Here's a piece of cake for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, we became friends. And I'm like 8, and he's like 60. You know, I mean, huge. Today, people look at that, go, he's some kind of weirdo trying to, you know, touch this boy inappropriately or something. And on my life, it was just pure, genuine care and witnessing that I was coming from crazy people. Everyone in that apartment knew the crazy people down the street, and that was my family. And he just said, you know, come in, this is a safe house for you. And we developed a friendship. We did. It was the weirdest thing. And it was mostly because of his dog and just right time, right place. And we were lifetime friends.
And once again, there are really good people in this world who love kids, who really do care. And then I know, but you were at high risk for that. I mean, you were at high risk for somebody to take advantage of you or, you know, get into some troubles. And I'm so glad you had that person. I mean,
You know
he's
what's weird?
pivotal. Yeah.
The thing that's crazy, you look at that childhood, I saw guns being shot off in my house, drug abuse, all this stuff all the time. And I walked around the streets of Salinas as an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old. Never once did I get hurt. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you ever watched that movie. I think it's called Unbreakable.
No.
With Bruce Willis.
I'll watch it, though. I'll write it
Samuel L.
down.
Jackson. It's about this guy who grows up and he just can't get hurt. He can't get sick. And I felt like strangely protected, and I couldn't get hurt. I couldn't get sick. I was 20 something years old the first time I ever got sick ever in my life. And I always felt invincible. And I also felt probably this false sense of security because the crazy people in my life made it very clear that if someone was to mess with me, they would mess with them back. And so I just kind of walked through life, just kind of like in a little bubble, like, whatever, stuff's going around me, have buildings on fire. Oh, there's a car crash. And I just walked around and I didn't really have any fear, which is strange because there were some scary areas of Salinas. And I just walked around and did whatever I wanted. And I never got touched, never got hurt, never got abused. All I ever experienced was unbelievable neglect.
Oh, that's it.
Which is not a good thing.
I know, but it could have been worse, like you said.
Absolutely.
And of course, Nancy, stop talking about the angels. But what is your mom's name?
Deborah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Debbie.
I have to believe. I do. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with it. I don't know. Does it annoy you? Are you into spiritual stuff at all? Do you believe in angels?
The power and light at night and kind of checking my cords and letting things go and wishing well on myself and others and all that is important because I went through we'll talk about it in a little while if you want, but I went through a severe car accident 2 years ago. I saw in the last 2 years 130 doctors. That's to give you an idea how bad I got messed up. And I couldn't speak for 8 months. I'm still doing, that's why I stutter sometimes. I still am doing vestibular therapy and I see a neurologist once a week. So I still have a lot of brain injuries and I have my left arm doesn't really function too well. I got my ass handed to me. I got T-boned at 70 miles an hour coming out of the gym, and this crazy crackhead coming up the middle of the road hit me and knocked me out. And over 2 years later, I'm still dealing with physical therapy and mental issues and stuff. But
oh man, I'm so sorry, Rich. But
I lost my train of thought. We were talking about something.
Well, no, it's the same. It was about spiritual protection. And then of course then it's like, then that happens and you're like, wait, what happened to my angels?
A lot of anger, a lot of hate, a lot of resentment, last year I was pretty depressed and life was great up until then. And it just wiped me out and it's made me start my career over. It's really messed me up. And so I've harbored a lot and I've had all this neck pain and this shoulder pain and I can't sleep for 2 years. I haven't been able to sleep. And I have a friend who's very into power, spirituality and your cords and connections to things and holding on to hate and all this stuff. And she did a whole session with me over the phone and a lot of tears, letting it go and not really, I guess forgiving, but like just kind of like letting it go and quit hanging on to it daily and focusing on this person who hurt me and hating her and wishing this and wishing that. I'm like, I still have this other track, this other life I'm going to either live this life or I'm not. So I want to get back on the track I was, which was always just live my life happy, try to do the best I can, accomplish something cool, meet cool people and just keep moving forward because that's all I can do.
Yeah.
So I figure you have two tracks, one with all the crap that happened to you, that's unhealthy and unhappy, or this track, this stuff still happened to you, but it's an awesome track. It's like there's your two choices. That's it. So I want to be back on this track. So in one night, I kid you not, in one night, not too many months ago, I just kind of had to let that go because this is the most pain and most damage and most anything I've ever experienced. My career was on this great trajectory and everything came to a halt. And I was so mad that I went to depression. I was in pain. I was seeing several doctors a day for, so long. And I let it all go. And in one night session, literally it brought me back to where I was prior, which was always positive and always looking ahead. All the pain went away like that overnight. And I woke up the next morning. I'm like, oh my God, I slept through the night for the first time in 2 years. First time.
Wow.
So yeah, I very much believe in the connection of energy and harboring that bad energy and what it does to your body and thinking of good thoughts to other people and all that kind of stuff. It really does play a big role.
I want to ask you a question about that, because that's one of the things, and I'm in a recovery program for adult children of dysfunctional families, and one of the things is about letting go, and it's easier said than done. Did you do a ritual? How did you let go? Did you just say, I'm letting it go? Did you have a visualization? I think people could really benefit from hearing, like, here's how it went for me, because if that happened in one night, it can happen to anybody in one night.
It was being backed into a corner to a point where you realize you're getting ill, like you're hurting. You can't, I have injuries. I have a ton of injuries, but I'm getting pain that's not just from the injuries. I have limitations in my hand because I have literally nerve, damage, but the pain was this stressful, unhealthy pain and an angry pain. And, so it was really kind of getting back to the basics of like, I preach to at-risk youth. I'm like, listen, all these things happen to you.
Okay.
I'm not saying pretend it didn't happen. Don't let that be your guide and your identity. And that's what drives you day to day. It's going to leave you down a negative path. Yes, your dad might have beat you, but he's no longer in your life. You're 19 now. So yes, he beat you. So move forward in this other trajectory, knowing that you're going to love the hell out of your child and learn from it, but move on. It doesn't take it away, but don't let it like literally predict and guide and cause what's going to happen in your daily life, which is going to be attracting negative crap if you have this negative view. And so just getting pushed back into this corner and realizing, what have I done? I've literally let myself go down this rabbit hole of anger and depression. And so it was with her help, my sister's help, and a couple of my aunt, but my one good friend who's really into this stuff. She's like, Rich, you got to recenter your focus, your energy, your, what did she say? Not your spiritual connection, but she said a word for it. I can't remember it right now because my head, I lose words sometimes, but basically the cords between, your sister or this person you hate, or what, all these cords are little connections of energy. And so she walked me through a process of visualizing myself back over here, making steps for betterment of my life to be better for my children, better for myself, better for my career and my clients and my life and all this stuff. Despite the fact this person over here really, really hurt me.
Yeah, you're not in denial. You're just not attaching. You're just not focusing on that.
But life's short, and I need to
Did you cut those cords?
Yes, I did. I had to cut those cords and just go, okay, if I never see a penny, my life is over here. That already happened. I'm not going to let that affect every little thing I do and be this constant roadblock and this focus every single day, because that's what I did. And I'm not that kind of person. I've always been super positive. I've always overcome any obstacle. It doesn't matter what happened. I'm just like right back on track. And all my friends are like, God dang, Rich, how do you do it? I'm like, it's just my mindset. And I actually fell victim to it myself for over a year. I fell down this hole of darkness and I was pissed. I really was. But it caused me illness.
Yes,
it really did.
It does cause illness. And I do believe that if you don't let go of it or express your trauma in a healthy way, it makes such an impression on you and it festers. And it makes people sick over and over again. My endocrinologist will say that too. She's doing trauma-informed doctoring now, where she's seeing it, why people end up with diabetes, and I have Hashimoto's disease or whatever, just an autoimmune disease of my thyroid. It's a very minor disease compared to others. But the fact that you have done this twice with huge traumas, at least twice, but I mean with your childhood and then now with this, something in your psyche that like, wow, not that you attracted that, but I have to wonder if you had, like this comes to me from what I've learned doing past life regressions and other things. Was there something in you that felt guilty that your mother died in a car accident and you did not? Like there's that survivor's guilt. Was there something unresolved there? I don't understand those kind of intersections in life. Is there anything in that rings true for you?
I never thought about that, to be honest. All I know is I moved to Denver 4 years ago during COVID to start a new career. I was going to go from just being a magician, do celebrity parties and corporate events all over the world, very well known for what I do. And I went from that to switching more toward the teaching, training, speaking, motivational speaker, keynote route. A little inspiration, a little motivation, but mostly education about my very unusual take on human behavior, which is why I even did magic to begin with. So I did a TED Talk. I did a second TED Talk, a big one. And then I moved to Denver to get ready to be centralized so I can fly anywhere in the country or around the world quick, because Denver is the biggest airport in the world next to Dubai. It's huge. People don't realize how big it is. It's huge. So from there, I can fly anywhere for hundreds of dollars versus thousands from the West Coast. To go from the West Coast, I got to do connecting flights. And then to get to the East Coast, I can't get there in the time to do the event that day. I got to come the day before. It's a whole domino effect of problems. So I moved there for a reason. And then COVID happened. That sucked. So I homeschooled my kids. I kind of got through COVID. And then I was going to hit the ground running. And as soon as things opened back up, I had to let go of dozens of corporate events, a movie deal, all kinds of stuff because I was hospitalized. And it just destroyed 2 to 3 years of hard work and preparation and a major shift in my career that I was choosing to do.
Yeah.
And it completely I felt like I was dead. I felt like I just lost everything because I put all of my eggs in one basket. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm going to go this speaking corporate route. I'm going to be a keynote speaker. And I'm going to go that route because I have so much to share when it comes to my very unique take to human behavior.
Absolutely, you have a lot to share.
And so it just destroyed me. And for 2 years, almost, or a year and a half, I just laid in bed in pain or at the hospital. And it played tricks with my head, but I got over that. I hit a wall where I'm like, fuck it. Yeah. I'm going to get back on this track. Nothing's going to get in my way. And now, interesting. Here's a funny story. This is like we were meant to meet. And I'm not going to try to get emotional, but I'm telling you right now.
I believe this.
When I went to Parker and I hung out with my friends, it was a total random thing. Let's go see some comedy. I need to see some comedy. I need to get out. That's the first time I've been out besides the event I did in Cheyenne, Wyoming the day before, which is why I flew back to Denver to go up there to do this corporate event. That was my first time working in 2 years.
Wow.
I've been literally laid up and hiding and in pain. And I literally had like this breakthrough a month ago and have been charging forward ever since. And so meeting you was just really like meant to be. It really was.
I know that too. I do believe that. I mean, especially, I can't even tell you. Well, we just talked about this before we were recording. I don't think we talked about it after, but I came running out on this stage. This is sweet theater in Parker, Colorado, the Schoolhouse main stage. And it's just 3-sided, beautiful theater. And there's no stage. It's just a flat floor. So I'm just like, yay, I love engaging with people. Like, that's what I'm in this for, is for the connection. And I crave it. And I just want that. And I really want to, I do love playing with muses. I do turn it over. I ask higher power, please let this be for the highest good. And then I turn it over to the muses. And I don't even have a plan sometimes. Anyway, I was like running out there and I can't explain it. Why and how I run just up to you and shake your hand. And it almost felt like Bewitched episode. I don't know if you're too young for Bewitched because I'm older than you. And Sam, I felt like, oh, I got her. And it was just an interesting, I even remember thinking that at the time, what am I doing? I'm shaking this guy's hand. Maybe your energy, maybe my muses, I don't know. And then after the show, of course, but it was it was a delightful night. And I felt so safe in that room that I dropped in deeper than I usually do in a comedy show. I shared a little bit about my trauma with my mama trauma, and talked about traumedy a little more than maybe I normally do on it was called Moms Unhinged, which is a very fun show that Andrea Vall produces. And I love those shows because it's predominantly women. And I mean,
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, you were like one of 3 guys in there. Yeah, I think there were literally 3 people.
My friends were like, it's just women. What did we walk into? We're going to be like the person they pick for jokes all night long. What's happening?
But I love that. Just interesting. And then for you to come up after and go, hey, I have some trauma. I have some stories. I could maybe be a guest. And then I thought, oh, that's so nice. And then when you sent your videos and I'm like, oh, I can't believe this guy's willing to spend time talking on my tiny podcast that I haven't even marketed yet. But I do feel called. Like this in my program, we turn our power over to higher power and we ask, do the will. So I've been asked to do this. Like, I want to help people that are isolated with trauma. So many people think they're the only one, or like somebody like you, if they hear your story and you're like, not only this, then you have this huge arc of being on all these amazing shows and getting 3 million followers. But then bam, like right when you're launching a new second, half of their career to get hit by a car, almost, it sounds like it almost killed you.
A gnarly 70 miles an hour T-bone on my left side. I mean, it just jacked me up. And I wonder what long-term mental issues I'm going to have, because it's hard for me to come up with certain words sometimes. And I'm so unbelievably sharp on stage. That's what they hire me for, to talk about all these little observational things. And it's, I mean,
I know
check out my TED Talk.
Yeah,
check out my TED Talk.
Oh, I'll put a link to that in the show notes too.
It's really fun. Yeah, it just gives you a little taste of what an hour and a half, 2-hour keynote is. And it's all about, I put magic tricks in it as analogies, and I interact with the audience. And it's like, it's a wild experience. And you walk away from that going, holy shit, I've never seen human behavior like this before. And next time you go on a date, play poker, go get hired, fired, negotiate with someone, try to have someone sell something to you, or you try to sell, you will see things so differently. And I just have, it's my childhood. That's my gift. I have a whole new way of looking at stuff, and it's just time to share it, because I used it in my magic. That's how I get away with stuff. I don't get away with magic because I'm good with my hands. I get away with magic because I'm really good at watching opportunities and waving my little web.
Yeah,
it's really wild.
So not only is it a great defensive skill, because I actually talk with a lot of people about narcissist abuse and sociopath abuse, because a lot of codependents, a lot of nurses, I'm a former nurse, a lot of people that are caring do easily get taken by narcissists and sociopaths, and they're apparently 10% of the population. But you're not necessarily focusing. I'm going to watch it, but I'm guessing you're not necessarily focusing on using it as a defensive tool, but maybe you are, like who to avoid. But
I
also
probably gained the skills because of a defensive mechanism, though. I bet you I did. It was probably a survival instinct, and then I
know who's not safe.
And now I'm like, wow, I've tapped into something cool here.
Yeah.
Like now I can use it for life.
Yeah, and know that who's positive and who. I don't know. Like I'm curious to see it, because what you're saying is it's about finding opportunities and collaboration. And before we go to that, and I do want to put a bookmark there so we remember to take off from that point. But it's bookmarked. But I want to talk about. Oh shoot, Nancy, what was it? Dang, it was back when you were injured. Oh, here it is. The fork in the road. Okay, I wanted to go, and I need to make notes, because my ADHD brain is like I interrupt people sometimes, and it's rude, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget it.
Speaking of ADHD, here's some ADHD for you. I just ordered a t-shirt off TikTok, my first TikTok purchase in life last week. And it's a t-shirt that looks like AC/DC, the logo,
yeah,
the lightning bolt, the same font, but it says ADHD. And it says, highway. Hey, look, a squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's one of my favorite shirts.
That's so perfect. And I do jokes about my son and I both having ADHD. And even though he is adopted, we have so much in common. And I do believe Spirit had a part in that. But, I mean, I also joke about we have ADHFs in math. But, okay. I love ADHD jokes. And, okay, fork in the road. All I wanted to say was, and I know based on your history and on your documentary that you don't do drugs and you don't drink alcohol. And I sip a little bit of whiskey. Yeah, no, I don't go crazy, but I do like to kind of shut down my mother's voice just a little bit in my head that says, you can't do this. Like that's what I'm doing. I'm self-medicating. Maybe you can do hypnosis on me and we can shut it off in a healthier way. But the other thing is I'm doing this psychedelic therapy, which I do believe has led me to another level already, just to help me understand my trauma. But Ram Dass, I don't know if you know who Ram Dass is. He was back in the 60s, Timothy Leary days, and I forget his English name, but he came from wealth and he denounced all his family inheritance and lived as a poor man on the streets of India for a long time and talking to gurus and everything. But there's a quote from him about, are you identifying with and this is the fork in the road, the manifested, what has already happened, which is kind of that kind of victim energy, which I have been known to do, or are you identifying with what is yet to be manifested, like what is manifesting? And that means identifying with the creator, and you are creating. And that is such a shift in my life. And I see that, like, where you're just like, nope, okay, this did happen, acknowledge it, accept it. That we're not like saying it didn't happen. But if you live in that side, it brings you down. It closes opportunities. It keeps you a victim. It keeps you sick. It keeps you mentally focused on that, which draws more of that negative energy, attracts more negative people. And then as soon as you shift over here, boom, you meet Nancy and you do all these cool things. And it's like, no, I'm serious. You just instantly doors open up and you're back to clarity again. And you see, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? I just wasted a year.
And it's not really wasted. I was in a hospital most of the time. So it's like, I was,
Well, you were
out of my control, but man, I went into depression quick.
And maybe there is a
really
time, well, and I hear that, and I, for good reason. And I'm just saying, hey, let's not also, don't beat yourself up for that. And nobody who's listening, please be generous and compassionate with yourself, because there is a time for healing. There is a time like this happened, this happened to me, and you didn't deserve to get T-boned by somebody on crack in the middle, coming out of a gym. Here you are doing something great for your body and doing, coming out probably, with the right of way or whatever. And then bam, like that, that is a thing to process. And there is a time to be in it. And you had to be in it. I mean, you were in the hospital, you had brain damage, you had nerve damage, all that. We had what else? Broken bones and.
Oh man, yeah, it's a long list. I could go through my medical portal and just scroll through all of the things. Like, oh my gosh, you poor guy. Yeah, lung issues and kidney stuff, and I had tears in wrists and arms and shoulders, and I had surgeries. I had my left bicep taken complete off. I mean, they had to regrow my left bicep completely from scratch. It stretch a little.
What is it, from a rat? Did you have a little rat on your? No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make a joke here. I don't know. How do you regrow a bicep?
No, they drilled through the lower part of the arm, and they pull the muscle that they have left, and they split up some tissue, and they go through the bone, and they make this. There's this little tube with a hole in it. And they stretch your tissue around it, and they pin it to the back of the bone. They put screws in it, and they secure the base of it to the other bone, so you have like from your lower arm to your shoulder, you have like a connected tissue now. And then I had to do, I'm still doing it, all kinds of therapy, a blood flow restriction where they cut off the blood to the arm, and then they make you lift your arm with like 1 pound, which is nothing. And you get that muscle to work, and it makes it function differently because the nerves are damaged, and all kinds of, I don't know what you call it, but they rub all these creams and put me on these machines. And I even have a machine in my office where I hook up all these electrodes to me, like a TINS machine, and I have to electrocute myself.
Yeah.
20 minutes and have my muscle vibrate, and it kind of slowly is coming back, but it's never going to be as strong as my right arm. It's just.
But that's incredible. And that's just one of the injuries.
The worst is the head injury. The worst is mentally what it's. I'm not the person. I'll give you an example. This is how ultra aware I was as a kid. Growing up in that environment, how it created me was like beyond Sherlock Holmes. In my entire life, in high school and in college, I was known as the guy. People would come up to me and be like, hey, Rich, here's a deck of cards. But they would just bring me, say, here, Rich, here's $1, do something with that. I mean, they would just hand me stuff and like, do something. This is before I ever did magic. I didn't do magic till I was 26. But even when I was younger, people would be like, Rich, here, do something with this pencil. And I'm like, do what? Well, you're really good at just doing stuff. I'm like, they didn't understand that the way I worked was opportunity. So if I saw you and you had a shirt with like your pencil sticking up right here, I might tap you with the back of my hand, like, hey, buddy, you going to go to PE later? And I'd tap you as I pinch and pull out something. I'm like, hey, I'll see you later. And I would take your sunglasses, put them on, and be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to see you at wrestling tonight, right? Here, you want these back? And they're like, hey, how'd you get those? It was more like me being a smart aleck. It was my way of having entertainment.
But it sounds like in a kind and playful way. It wasn't like,
very much
it wasn't like that thing, what's on your shirt and hit your nose,
Exactly. It was more like a high-skilled shenanigan thing,
and people were like, wow. They were like, wow, like that. Like I would be if all of a sudden you had on my glasses.
So my entire life, I've been ultra aware of sound and visual stuff. As a matter of fact, when I went to an eye doctor, I have these optic nerves that he thought I might have had a tumor because my eyes are super sensitive. And he looks at it, Dr. Ahmad Amir up in San Luis Obispo, phenomenal. He brings in a specialist. He goes, I've never brought in another person, but you're a friend. I want to just make sure. He brings in this other specialist. He look at my optic nerves. He goes, your optic nerves are huge. Beyond belief, they're like double the size they should be. And I don't know if it's your eyes and brain, the communication, and what that pathway is, but I don't know if that is because of my upbringing or if that's just coincidentally also part of this story. I don't know.
Yeah, that you adapted that out of necessity. I mean, we're adaptive creatures. It makes sense to me that you developed that out of a need to be safe and to see things.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
So I've always been ultra aware of everything. And so I would hear someone drop a pair of keys or throw them on a shelf somewhere, and subconsciously or just somewhat consciously, I'd just be like, okay. And I just kind of hear stuff and notice things all the time.
Who's home, who's not, what's going on.
This would be normal for me. So this would be normal. Someone would be like walking through like, oh, I left my keys and I have nothing to do with them. They're in a locker room. Some random family I saw an hour ago at the swim club or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I think I heard them on the top shelf in that back locker. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And they look, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm just super analyzing and super aware. I'm sharing that because you said something a minute ago, and I was just going to try to paint a picture that that's how I am. That's how my brain is wired.
Yep.
And so this accident brought that down.
Okay.
It brought me to normal. And that drives me crazy because I'm not someone to ever misplace something, ever. I've never done it. I actually, until this accident, I've never understood how somebody could misplace their keys. They're the one that put them down with their own hands, their own brain, their own eyes. How can they forget? And now I get it, because your brain is, when you're overly stressed and overly, pulled in all directions or whatever it might be. I've been normalized a little bit. I've been chopped down a little bit, and I'm getting it back. But that is bizarre to me. Like, now I get it. Oh, people are we're doing too much at once, and we don't seem to focus well, or something.
Well, can I play devil's advocate here and just play, like, wonder if that was part of your path? And again, I know people get annoyed, like, because I think it's called bright siding when I try to find the bright side of everything. But I'm just wondering if, when you talk about doing keynotes for typical people like me who do lose their keys, because I did. In fact, I have a thing on Facebook where I messaged all these people. I did a hypnotherapy thing, and I'm like, where are my keys? And I'm a single mom, and I'm on a pretty tight budget, and every fob now is at least $126, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to throw away this money. Well, it took me, I didn't find it. My son found it when he went to get dog food under the ping pong table, a case of dog food that my neighbor handed me just as I walked in the house. And I just thought, oh, I'll take it. I'll throw my keys on top, put it down, but it migrated in between the cans. But by the time I set it down, and I went, and even with hypnotherapy and everything else, I could not find those. I did have to buy another fob. But maybe back to you, like, how this might be like, oh, you need to relate, like, not need to, but this will help you understand a typical brain a little better, where you're like, here's how we're going to take your typical brain, because you're doing it now. You're getting neurogenesis, and I do believe in neurogenesis. They used to say your nerves were fixed, and things aren't going to.
No, the brain's rechanging all the time.
Oh yeah, we know the neuroplasticity is real, and so you are going to be able to train typical brains into, like, growing whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious. Maybe this will be a gift in a weird, indirect way of you being able to relate to commoners.
I'm not sure. I'll tell you what I'm not going to do is spend a whole lot of time worrying about it, focusing on it anymore. I'm going to be on this track, doing my thing.
This is what it is. Well, I mean,
that's what's going to serve me best, is kicking ass. That's it.
Well, yeah. But what if, I mean, I'm just saying, oh, thanks. I mean, another gift, like, oh, now I can really understand how to take people from kind of a common observation place back to where I am again. That's all. It's like,
yeah, no, there is that. It probably is. There's an element of that I can take away from this unfortunate thing, and is having that little bit of a relatability. My aunt said it to me. She goes, "Well, Rich, welcome to the real world. You've had it really." Or she didn't say I had it good, but she goes, "Because I've gone through some stuff." But she said something along the lines of, "Well, yeah, we all go through." I'm like, "No, but I've gone through more than most anybody."
Yeah, you have gone through. I got to say, you've gone through more than anyone I've met so far in my life. I'm so sorry that happened. That is just so unfair. I mean, there's no other way around it, but I'm glad you accept it. And again, we don't want to focus on it so much, but I mean, let me just acknowledge it, because I think it needs to be acknowledged. I think it does, like, that needs to get acknowledged, and also the growth that you're doing.
So are we setting up a GoFundMe page? What's going on?
Look in the show links. Yeah. And so now, are you split between San Diego and Denver? Or are you back in San Diego?
We all moved back to San Diego. Okay. And so I have 8-year-old twins. They're going to turn 9 here next month on May 4th, Star Wars Day. And
so how cool.
I have these twin boy and girl twins, and we just all moved back here. It was just after the accident and after 2 years of COVID. So that's 4 years of hell. It's a great place to be for me for international travel, but there's nothing else there for me. There's really not a lot of friends or family, and it's a tough environment because of the weather. It's just different. And here I can be outside and play and get sun every day. I can go swimming every day. I can go to the beach every day. I can do what I want and have that more entrepreneurial spirit, because that's who I am. I'm really an entrepreneur at heart. And along the coast of California, to make yourself survive in these outrageously priced areas, you need to be, some rich person that inherited tons of money, or you need to be an entrepreneur and like self-made person or something. And so I think there's more of an entrepreneurial spirit along the coast of like Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, San Diego, this whole area, as opposed to Denver. I feel like people they went to work and they come home, they go in their box, and you don't even know your neighbor. At least in my neighborhood, it just didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. You're going to film a YouTube video or like a video on psychology or a prank or a magic trick. It was like, oh, what are you doing? In Southern California, people like see you like, what are you guys doing? I want to be part of that. It's just a different culture.
Yeah, it is a different culture. I could see that.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's your vibe, man. It's like where you came up, and it's like there is something about where we grew up. I know when I meet somebody else, I grew up in the Ozarks, and I
love it there. Yeah. My whole family is north quite a few hours up in Kansas City, Missouri. And we go down there to vacation sometimes.
Yeah, I have some family in Kansas City as well. But when I meet somebody from Missouri, there is a certain kinship where I don't know if it's just the phrasing or the sensibility, and there's a real practicality there, and there's a real if you don't have to you don't hesitate. If there's somebody stuck on the side of the road, you jump out and you help push, and
push them out of the way and take the car.
That's what you do. Let me have this. And so I get that. Like those are your people. And that environment. And, I do keynote speaking as well. And I typically go, even though I'm in Denver is my hub, I still go in a day before, just because nowadays with traffic and the airlines are a little less reliable than they used to be. I mean, so I just love being in there a day ahead, and also just having time I'm not, as I mentioned, a morning person. So a lot of times I give
good. It's probably, I didn't know you were a keynote speaker until after we met. Then I looked at your website, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like doing all this stuff. Because when I saw you, I turned to my friends, I said, I love this girl. She should be out there doing keynotes, because I just love her energy. She's comedy and her message, all of it. I can just see you doing, and with the nursing background, I'm like, my head is spinning, because I'm in that place with me right now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at you and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just think she could be doing everything that I could dream of doing. And then I look you up, I'm like, oh, she is doing it. Like, she's doing all that. It makes
Isn't
sense.
that cool? Isn't that cool? And I love it too. I love going into rooms where they are kind of unsuspecting, and they, take them from kind of, or low expectations. Sometimes with, I don't want to put down speakers, but sometimes it's a little flat. And like you say, there's not a dynamic. I don't do a PowerPoint. I do a powerless, pointless presentation,
Powerless, pointless? That's hilarious.
Well, just to kind of, I probably should say powerless, poignant. I don't know. But I tried to create a non-linear PowerPoint presentation, and I did. But then when you go to the venue, a lot of times that you don't have access to your own computer that can go off. I think AI is going to help us with this, because I do like a visual up there when I'm talking. Because it's fun for people, and I'm ADHD. I like pretty shiny things to look at when people are talking. But I don't think like that. I trust my instincts, and I go this way, go that way. What does this audience need? It might be completely different than the next one, and I really try to feel it. And I do not like a linear PowerPoint for me. I don't like it. Plus, I work a lot in this my right hemisphere of my brain, which is very creative, very intuitive. And when I'm going back and forth into the left, trying to remember, what's on the next slide, not my thing. Yeah. But I do love it. So
when you see a speaker and they click the slide and they're like, and what you can see here is based on psychology and data and statistics, 70% of surgeries are not necessary. And they're just reading. It's like, that's not very interesting. Now I have slides going the whole time, but I have a thing on my finger I push and it clicks, and it's like there's a person making a certain gesture or whatever, and there's something on the screen pertaining to what I'm talking about. So there's a visual. It's like, did you guys know that if you're watching a group of people and you see a foot turn, and that foot turns, but their face turns this way and they're talking, they're going to go that way toward their foot as soon as there's a breaking conversation. And that's their subconscious sign is the foot. They don't know they've done it, but their face like, oh my God, it's so good to meet you, Nancy. I'd love to get your number. And they're already going, and they want to go now. They're running. And like, I see the truth, even though it's disguised by the lie so well. And so I have slides as I'm talking, click, and they're just always there.
Oh, and I know you see your brain, you're smart enough to do that. I would love to get some coaching from you. Now, let me ask you this. According to my little readout here on my Roadcaster, it says we've been talking for 58 minutes. Of course, we started a little early. I don't know. I think I hit it. That's about the time of my podcast. But now I'm like, now I want to hear more about what your keynote's about.
That's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And next time you'll actually get to hear some meat and potatoes about how magic works. See ya, suckers.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. And I mentioned, and I don't know if you saw my little email after I right before this, I sent you a little email going, hey, maybe we can do a 2-parter, but I don't know what your schedule is.
Hold on. Let me check. Hey, guys, you guys want to hold off production for a little bit? Okay, so yeah, they said it's good. Yeah. You guys take a break. We're in the middle of filming a big movie, and they're all just waiting for me. I'm going to be doing my scenes. Don't worry about it.
So what do you say? You want to put a pause here in the conversation and then come back next week for part 2 with
Sounds
Rich
good.
Ferguson?
Whatever works for you.
I am so intrigued because I want to hear more about this body language stuff. And I'm curious also, I want to get your feedback about my body language when we were talking. Because I was just curious, like, oh shit, what was I doing with my feet? I know my eye's always going that way.
Oh my gosh.
Did you think I was not?
Time you've mentioned your eye.
Well, I have to. I don't know.
You don't have to at all.
Okay, maybe I should. Hey, maybe you can coach me on that. But well, it helps me relax because I do think it confuses people sometimes. Although it's a Zoom, they pretty much know I'm not talking to another computer over there. Okay. Well, Rich Ferguson, magician, keynote speaker, amazing person. Thank you for this hour of conversation. I'm inspired. And I can't wait for the next one.
I was inspired by watching you too. It really got my wheel spinning because it was like, like I said, I'm at the infancy of, I'm going back to work now. I'm finally doing my thing. And it was cool to see you because your energy, I don't know what it was. I was telling my friends, I love this girl. I said, there's something about your energy. It's like, if I was a comedian, I'd be like, I'm just very crazy and improvisational. And I was watching you. I'm like, I was enjoying it from more than just, hey, it's good comedy. It was like, I just dig the person too. So I'm stoked to be here and chat with you. And it's been very fun.
Thank you. All right, kids, tune in next week when we hear Rich say,
abracadabra. No, I don't ever say abracadabra.
Okay. Nothing like putting you on the spot. I trusted you. That was perfect. All right, peace and love. Tune in next week, every Tuesday, new episode. It's Traumedy Tuesdays. I'd like to thank my guest, Rich Ferguson. Get a hold of Rich Ferguson. If you need an amazing motivational speech or keynote talk, get Rich Ferguson. Go to his website. It'll blow your mind. Rich Ferguson, RichFerguson.com. I don't know. I'm doing ads now. It's richferguson.com. The gifted, the insightful, the good person. It's richferguson.com. And I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for making the music and all the jokes around the house and keeping me laughing and keeping me humble, that's for sure. I'm out here at my workbench. It's a little chilly here. We're having a very cold rain on this Monday night. It's April Fool's Day. I should do some fool's jokes, but you're not going to hear this until April Tuesday. April Tuesday is not April Fool's Day. All right, kids, I got to go to bed. This is old Nance signing off. Have a great one. Go to the show links to find out where you can come see a Nurses Off the Charts show. It is healthy for you. Gallows humor, dark humor. We need it. We've got to get that vicarious trauma that's stuck in our body and get it out with laughter. It actually does help you stay healthy and well and gets rid of stress hormones in your body. It's amazing. Thanks for listening. This podcast is helping to heal me. I hope it's helping you half as much as it's helping me. And I'm loving it. I'm meeting so many wonderful people. And I'm hearing from a lot of you who are offering to be guests, which I so appreciate. Tune in again next Tuesday. We'll see what kind of healing we get ourselves into. Oh, it's going to be Rich. Oh my gosh, we have another episode. I'm so excited. Part 2 is going to be so much fun. And we did this all recorded on Zoom. I will upload that to my YouTube, and I'm going to start doing more video for this channel. Please like and subscribe and whatever people always say. Bing bong, ding dong. Hit that bing bong button. It's Traumedy Tuesday, a new episode every Tuesday.